If you stop and observe, there are a lot of 2020 similarities to 2016, and not just as we approach Election Day itself. Back it all the way up to the primaries, and think about all the deja vu we've watched ever since. Remember way back when Bernie Sanders was a surging candidate only to be ousted by DNC shenanigans in the final hour? In 2016, it was the rigged debates. In 2020, it was the seemingly forced and synchronized exits of Pete Buttigieg and Amy Klobuchar, but no such exit for Elizabeth Warren, in a way that perfectly unified the moderate vote while keeping the progressive vote fractured, leading to the same Bernie Sanders defeat and the same sheepish endorsement of the establishment from the supposed anti-establishment hero. Fast forward through a summer of extremely cautious campaigning by the Democratic candidate, if you want to be generous about it, outright lazy campaigning if you want to be critical. Hillary, of course, thought she had it in the bag, so she neglected the states that decided the race in 2016, in much the same way Joe Biden has done in recent weeks and months. He did make a visit to Wisconsin finally on Friday, but that comes after visiting only 3 states away from his home in the last 10 days. The Biden campaign blames coronavirus for this relaxed scheduling, but come on. You're telling me if the polls were reversed, they wouldn't put this guy on multiple stages across multiple states every single day? Even if this is just coronavirus caution, why should we as voters be confident that a man who cowers before this challenge would suddenly rise to meet every other challenge that the country and the office of the presidency face? So it would seem this is a judgment made not about health and safety, but about polling confidence. And the same national polling aggregations that show a significant Biden lead showed a persistent Clinton lead through 2016. But the race is tighter in the decisive swing states, again, just like the prior election. And the same election forecasts using those polls that gave Hillary a 70+% chance of winning in 2016 are giving Biden almost a 90% chance now. Never mind that one of the few models that correctly predicted 2016 is calling 2020 the opposite way, 90+% chance of a Trump win. The relaxed campaigning certainly isn't due to a lack of resources either. The same fundraising edge that Hillary enjoyed is also enjoyed by Joe, with significant contributions by the same Wall Street backers who funded Hillary's spectacular crash and burn. And of course, never forget the late-breaking scandal that was arguably decisive last time. Never forget that a major reason Donald Trump is president is because of Anthony Weiner's, well, Weiner. A laptop with sexually explicit imagery was investigated in relation to a corruption scandal then, Hillary's famously missing emails, and so Jim Comey announced the FBI reopening the case. And a laptop with sexually explicit imagery is being investigated in relation to a corruption scandal now, Hunter and allegedly Joe Biden's dealings in China and elsewhere, and now news breaks this week that, yeah, the FBI has been criminally investigating Hunter Biden and continues to. Even with all the parallels, though, I don't actually think Hunter's wiener will decide 2020 in the same way that Anthony's arguably did in 2016. I think instead there's a unique factor in play that wasn't as commonly present in 2016, but has certainly outworn its welcome or even tolerance this year. Rioting, looting, and utter lawlessness enabled by Democratic politicians with whatever spines they have left permanently affixed looking the other way. When all the votes are cast, I don't think this image will matter nearly as much as this one will. I assume he's stealing the washing machine to go launder all his masks. Dr. Fauci thanks you for looting responsibly. And I mean this image will matter specifically where it was taken, Philadelphia and Pennsylvania at large. I took a look at the electoral map and all the aggregated state polling averages to build my own election prediction, which I'll reveal officially on Sunday. But as a starting point, I assumed that all the polling averages in all the states were correct. That's not my prediction, that's just a baseline. But obviously, if you do that, if you assume that all the polling is accurate, Biden cruises to a decisive victory by a wider electoral college margin than Trump won in 2016. So the next question is, what sort of ground would Trump have to make up to flip that result? How wrong would these state polls have to be? Most polls have a margin of error of around 3%, so let's start there. Let's assume that these state polling averages are off by 3% in Trump's favor. If so, what result do we get then? Much closer. Biden still wins, but Trump flips Arizona, Iowa, Georgia, Florida, North Carolina, and Maine's 2nd district. So a 3% bump in Trump's favor doesn't quite get him there. What about 4? A shift of 4 points changes only one more state on the map, Pennsylvania. And in that situation, Pennsylvania puts Trump over the threshold to victory. So no matter the scenario, if Trump is to win, his most realistic path with the fewest minds to change is through the Keystone State. And the Trump campaign is obviously aware of that reality. Trump is making multiple Pennsylvania stops a day before Tuesday. He is but one man, though, so he'll need all the help he can get. Lucky for him, he has no shortage of improbable campaign volunteers. As I texted a friend on Monday night, Black Lives Matter is campaigning hard for Trump in Pennsylvania, convincing voters not with ridicule at the podium, but with flames and theft and violence in the street. These scenes are, of course, in reaction to another police shooting, caught on camera showing indisputable justification. 27-year-old Walter Wallace was erratically running around with a knife. Police commanded him to drop the weapon repeatedly, and he refused, and he instead charged at them. Police then shot Wallace dead. Susan says I can't show you the unedited footage, but it's linked in the description. Decide for yourself. And then your typical flash shopping spree followed. You want some new shoes or a TV or a home appliance? On sale for 100% off. So come on down and steal to your heart's desire. Pretend to honor Wallace's grave while you actually criminally dance upon it. Some of the scenes like Washing Machine Guy were kind of funny, but most were not. In the nights since Monday, over 1,000 looters have stolen all they could carry, raiding a Walmart, a Foot Locker, and other area businesses, and picking them clean. The early Black Friday deals were so good that looters were shooting other looters over them. Some of them were trying to pull Splinter Cell moves just to get into the building.
You see that water on the floor. Police tell me that is because some looters actually tried to break in up through the ceilings, and that cracked some of the water pipes above. It led to water leaking all over this Walmart store.
And of course, just like Minneapolis and Kenosha earlier in the year, the looters left their calling card.
A literal dumpster fire burning nearby as looters were going in and out of a store there.
In total, 11 people were shot, 30 police officers were injured trying to quell the chaos, and the rest, apparently outmanned by the horde, were seen running away.
Get him, yeah! 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 That's what I like! What the fuck I like? Yeah, that's what I like!
It's not a good look, but given the politicians they have supporting them or not, it's probably not unreasonable either. So don't try policing and don't try reporting either. If the police can't protect themselves, they certainly can't protect your First Amendment rights. And reporter Elijah Schaefer was jumped in that reality.
What happened was I just went into the Five Below to just see what was going on with some of the looting, and I was jumped by the Black Lives Matter protesters who immediately started punching and kicking me. One of them punched me directly right in the lip.
Shout out to him, by the way. That's the sort of reporting that only a select few will even dare to do. If you're a Pennsylvania voter, not only are you watching your communities be ransacked, but you're hearing your politicians and other officials sympathize and excuse and look the other way for it. Governor Tom Wolf's first words on this story were to sympathize with the supposed victim.
Everyone is really sad by the death of the victim. And the hope is that that doesn't escalate into anything more than the peaceful protests that I think this kind of situation brings out.
Walter Wallace is not a victim. Walter Wallace was a violent criminal convicted on multiple counts in 2017 and was, as of Monday, awaiting trial for threatening to shoot a woman. He rapped about attacking police, and he meant justice when he made those lyrics a reality. Philadelphia Mayor Jim Kenney also sympathized with Wallace over his city in a statement offering prayers to Wallace's family, saying he watched the video and it presents difficult questions that must be answered. Police Commissioner Danielle Outlaw said the same. The video of the incident raises many questions. If you have many questions, you didn't watch the video. If you watch the video, there's only one reasonable question. Why did that idiot charge at cops with a knife? If the name Danielle Outlaw sounds familiar, that's because she's the former police chief of Portland, Oregon. Somehow Philadelphia officials looked at her tenure over the last few years in Portland and thought, yes, please bring that chaos here. Her specialty has long been looking the other way for it. The story about her move in the Philadelphia Inquirer describes exactly that. Her first order of business in her new city was painting her fingernails. And when she discovered that her nail fashion violated existing department policy, in one of her first official actions, she changed the rule to accommodate her style. Well, I hope she gets some of the best polish in that Walmart haul, just in case she cracks a nail while she's ignoring the chaos of her city, cracking skulls. I know it's a statistical stretch to forecast Trump winning, but in this context, is it really a stretch to think that plenty of voters will look at this lawlessness and hold their noses and vote for the law and order candidate? You may not like his mean tweets, sure, but I bet you'll tolerate them much more than you'll tolerate your neighborhood on fire. And in a context where expressing that view will make you a target of the mob, where expressing the wrong political opinion will get you raided just like that Walmart, is it really a stretch to think that plenty of voters will simply stay quiet publicly but vote Trump privately with the boldest marker they have? I personally think the shy Trump voter isn't just real. I think there are more of them this year than there were in 2016, in numbers far greater than any polling margin of error, Pennsylvania included. We'll find out on Tuesday and in the weeks that follow, but what's telling is who also implicitly believes that: Joe Biden. The Philadelphia rioting was so bad that Joe Biden actually disavowed it.
There is no excuse whatsoever for the looting and the violence. None whatsoever. The victim's father said, "Do not do this. It's not what my son, you're not helping. You're hurting. You're not helping my son."
Still no explanation for how such violence and destruction were committed by an abstract idea, but that's a noticeable change in tone. And it's not because of a sudden discovery of morality. It's because of a sudden discovery of the polling and a sudden consideration of the shy Trump voter. If Trump wins, his path to victory is through that looted Walmart, and Biden knows it, so he has to be on the right side of this one. They may be totally scraped of TVs and fresh kicks and common decency, but I have a feeling that Walmart is fully stocked with Trump votes. Thanks as always for listening and for supporting this channel. Always appreciate that thoughtful discussion down below, and especially over on Twitter. That is at ML Christiansen. You're always welcome to coming out and chat in my live streams. Those are linked down in the description. Looking forward to it. Goodbye.